Hello friends, welcome to a new project, and we have a returning guitar in today. Not in because it has a problem or there are faults, it is in because, well, I'll remind you, I'll show you what the guitar is. It's a Gibson SG, I believe something round about a 2017 by the looks of it. And there you go, very nice guitar. If you remember, this came in and it's got all the push-pull solderless wiring kit under there, which not many people I know like. But we put in a Seymour Duncan Invader pickup, so I had to wire that to the plug-in loom from the old Gibson thing, which took some doing. If you backtrack, you'll check some videos, you'll find it. What the owner has decided to do with this guitar is to get rid of all of that solderless crap, and he wants to go with regular pots. He wants to go with black hardware, so all this silver chrome stuff's coming off, blah 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 blah. And he wants to remove this pickup. He's probably going to move it, and I'm just going to replace that with a standard black pickup because he doesn't use the neck pickup. And I says, well, you can't just leave a hole because it'll alter the sound of a guitar. But what we're going to do is, he's got an Epiphone bridge pickup knocking about. We're going to stick that in there, but we're going to redo the whole wiring loom. So I've got all the parts in, ready to do that. We're keeping the Invader pickup in the bridge position. So we're going to be removing the stop top piece, the bridge, all the inserts. We're going to remove in the tuners. Fantastic tuners on here as well. These are Grover locking tuners. Absolutely fantastic. Have a look at them. The only thing with the tuners we've got, we're replacing them with, is the holes line up differently to those that are at a 45-degree angle. So I'm going to show you the parts we are replacing them with. And I actually have new stock Wilkinson gear. So it's Korean. Same kind of gear that the Goto stuff's made of. It's made at the same factory. We're going with a roller bridge, as Jamie always does. Matching tail piece. I have the inserts and the posts. Blah 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 blah. So that is that part sorted out. Tuners wise, we are going with a set of Vanson locking tuners. These retail at about £30. Kidney bean again, locking. Great locking mechanism on these. I've been in there. Your locking post, don't know if you're going to see it, is not like the Chinese crap where it just sits in the middle of its potluck, whether it's the string or not. The locking post on these is exactly the same diameter as, I don't know if you can see there, exactly the same diameter as the hole in there. So it's going to trap the whole string. Very good quality. About 27, 28 quid a set these are if you want to go online. Vanson locking tuners, 3+3. So that's the tuners, stop tail piece, bridge, blah 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 blah. I will also, I don't know if I'm going to replace the three-way and the input jack just yet, because these don't look as beefy or as good as the Gibson ones in there. I might just leave the chrome ones in there because these are only cheap little things, but we could go with those if we need to. And then it's going to come down to the electrics and the wiring. Well, the wiring I'm going to use vintage cloth wire throughout. I have, this is just little bits I've got knocking about where I've got reels of this stuff in the drawer. I've got some yellow stuff there, or cream stuff there. I also have one strip of, or maybe a couple of strips of this. I'm going to use probably, I don't know, I might use some of this. I don't know, I might not need to. Might just get away with the cloth stuff. When it comes to the pots, I have two brand new and measured. These are very low tolerance. Vintage, CTS vintage. By vintage, these are the CTS are the 450G vintage pots, 500k audio taper. Fantastic. There you go. Audio, that's what it says on them. Audio NN or something similar. These got the indentation in there showing they are the vintage ones. I'm hoping these fit. I haven't checked them yet. They should fit. They should be fine. These retail at about a tenner a piece. These are absolutely brand new, unused. For the two tones, I'm also using CTS vintage spec pots, but these came out of another guitar and they were a bit ropey, but I've cleaned them up really well. These again are vintage. They are stamped CTS, blah 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 blah. What are they stamped? I'll have to tell you in a second. How about I just get in with my magnifying glass and I'll give you a number, and it's 450S or 450S, can't read it on that one. Yeah, 450S 3847 CP 500K and some numbers at the end, which are 1608. 450S 3847 CP 500K 4608. These, I know, I've checked them online, they are also vintage spec. So even though they look different to the G450s, these are 450S. I did read what they were, but I can't remember now. The tolerance on these two, I've measured these on a multimeter, 500 k ohms and 504 k ohms, very perfectly matched. They are going to be the volume, these are going to be the tone. I will fix up a wiring loom. The capacitors I've chosen to go with are my chosen ones, my favourite ones. I always used orange drops before. I don't no longer use them since I discovered Mullard Mustard capacitors. These are new old stock. These are 0.22, is that picofarad? Or I don't know what it is. Whatever it is, 0.022. It's the right ones. We're going to stick a couple of them in there. I am going to wire it up. I don't know if I'm going to do the vintage 50s wiring because it doesn't really matter to Jamie because he doesn't use tone and he doesn't use roll off on his volume, I don't imagine. He's not one for clean sounds. If I feel that he's going to be rolling off a volume at any point and he needs to maintain his treble, I will do this according to 50s wiring or 50s spec. I'll see how I do that. The loom itself I'm going to make with a C-shaped ring or a big semicircle of 20 AWG copper wire to hold it all together. I do have a jig to wire it all up on. I'm going to make sure this matches with no, it doesn't, absolutely no good. I'm going to make a new one. I was going to use one of these, but I will make one up for the wiring. So I'm going to rip all the guts out of this guitar first and foremost, take the strings off. I'll be using the strings again if I can. There's another set in the box if I can use them, so we'll see where we are. But like I say, we get the strings off, rip all the guts out. I know the action and everything on this guitar is fine because I did the setup on it a few months ago. So without further ado, I will crack on with this. I will come back and show you snippets of the work I am doing. First and foremost, like I say, I'm going to get the strings off and get it all stripped and we will take it from there. Well, that went well. Another job I have to put on hold because I removed the bridge and stop toe piece and the inserts are under the lacquer, so I can't remove them. And the thing is, the inserts I was going to put in there anyway will not fit. So I cannot use the roller bridge I have. I can use the tailpiece, but I can't use the stud. So I've had to go and order some new studs to fit in these anchors, which have cost £23.50, and I had to go and order a new bridge with the right anchors, studs to fit in these posts here. So that cost another £15.50, so it's another 39 quid I've had to go on. My parts I cannot use. I'm throwing in my tailpiece. No, I charged him 38 quid. I'm not even getting anything for my stock tailpiece I'm throwing in, so I'm throwing that in free now. Put the price of the guitar up a little bit. It's gone a little bit over budget with it, but there's nothing can be done about that. So I can't really do a lot on this at the moment. I am still going to remove the tuners. I'm going to remove all of the electrics. But like I say, it's not a job I can do. I could have had this done today. No, it's not a job I can get done today. I can't get it done till next week, till the parts arrive. There's also another 2 guitars I'm not going to get done this week because one needs some extra work and one needs, well, I might get one done tomorrow. So pull me back just a little bit, you know, but hey ho, what can we do about it? These are things we don't find out until we actually start pulling bits off. Pulled bits off, found out that my bits don't fit, had to go and order more. They will be here next week, so Jamie will not have this guitar for the gig he wanted. Well, he didn't want it. He says, just let me know if it's going to be ready or not. I said, I could have got it ready, and I could have got it ready. It could have been ready tonight. It's not going to be the case now, it's going to be next week. So I'm going to push on and move on to something else. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's plenty to do in here. There's always plenty to do in here. So, this SG, what a pain. I had to go to, can't remember where I bought them from, once all parts, it was someone. I had to go and buy a pair of these studs, but fitted properly in black. Cost £24.50 posted. These, for 2 of these, I've got the anchors as well, that sit in the guitar body. But if I just show you, I don't know what I've done with them, but it don't matter. What I've done with them doesn't matter, because if you have a look at the guitar itself, they're under the paint, so I can't take the old ones out anyway. And the new ones are chrome, same as that. So we paid £24.50 for a pair of these. Unbelievable, but they're going in. Anyway, that happens, and then the bridge turns up. Bridge turns up from all parts. Oh no, that's the studs and anchors from all parts. There's all parts, studs and anchors. They were £23.50, £24.50 with postage. And then I got these this bridge, Vanson roller saddle bridge for Gibson Les Paul SG. Will fit an American, they said. £15.50. So I get them here. There you go, there it is. Looks great. Brilliant. There's your Gibson type affair. Great, all black, fits in beautiful. Does it fit these? No, does not. The thread on that is too thin for the anchors in there, and this, we're going to use the chrome ones, does not fit the bridge. There is about 1/10 of a millimetre difference. Anyway, without going and spending 50 quid on a bridge and the right inserts and everything, I said to Jamie, look, we'll just have to use the chrome ones. We'll use a chrome post here, and I'm going to drill these out. I'm going to drill from the back in case we have an accident, because I want to use this bridge. I'm going to drill from the back. I'll be using this closest drill bit I can get. It is virtually the same. It's the same size as the bridge post, like so. It's about 4mm. I've got no idea what it say on it. I also have no idea. Does that say 5? 5mm. Why don't I get the calipers out and then measure? It's an idea. Again, the Americans using the imperial measurements rather than going metric like everybody else in the world. The Americans have to be different, don't they? You think they are Jewish? Anyway, far from it, by the way. But let's have a look here. Get on millimetres. Yeah, 5mm, 4.95mm, 5mm, 0.195 inches, 25 128ths. So we're looking at 25 128ths here. What we got here? 25 128ths. Exactly the same diameter as the bridge post. You'll also notice here the threaded part of these is slightly wider. This will be, I got close, get back on millimetres. This side will be about 4mm, 3.8 millimetres, 3.85. This one will be, again, this is going to be 4.6, 4.8, whatever varies in 0.185, 3/16, that one, which is about right. What's this? Yeah, of course it is. It's 1928. I mean, come on. So yeah, no good. So we are going to use the bridge. I'm going to drill it out. Like I said, got a drill bit. Just about to get my drill out. Going to get that up in the vise. We're going to drill these holes through. Hopefully we won't create any damage, no burrs. Maybe I'll go through this side first, see where we are, and I'll tidy up this end with a reamer. I've got some black paint if I need any. You know, just let me get the drill out, and I'll crack on and see what I can do. Always expense when you're converting a Gibson from something else, but at least when I get this done, we get some new pots in there, get the pickups all sorted out, get the rewiring done, and we can crack on. So come back soon. Back, and it's not all gloom and doom, because I managed to find my carbide HSS carbide tipped drill bits, and it made real light work of this bridge. And I've had to use the chrome adjusters underneath, but we've got it fitting. It doesn't look too shabby. You know, it could be worse. It'd be nice if they were black, the adjusters were black, but you know, we'll get away with that. The drill bits were amazing. I've had these drill bits in one of my drawers for years. They're in their own little tin, fold up, pull out tin. And I was really struggling with drill bits I got. I put one of these on there, it went straight through, 2 seconds, job done. So now we've got that done, I'm going to move on now. I'm going to strip the guitar, I'm going to remove the pickups, I'm going to get on to sorting out the electrics. So, ready to remove all the parts. I've been in, got all the pickup wire connectors all pulled out. Of course, this being an American built machine, it is all imperial sizes, so I'm thinking it might be a 13mm. It's not 13mm, it's half inch, which is 12.5mm, just about just over 12.5mm. So whip all this rubbish off. Can't get the pickles out till this is all out because of the way everything's routed. So I'm going to reuse, well, it looks like I'm going to reuse the switchcraft input, switchcraft freeway and the input jack, because the black, well, I have black ones, but they're not the right size. So that's just come straight off. Look, that's good. So we should be able to get straight in there, pull everything out. I'm going to flip the guitar over, move that out of the way. Right, there is the switchcraft. I can remove this stupid little loom here, and we can use that again. Maybe I've got a black nut for the top, I don't know, I hope so, might have. Also the input jack, I will replace that with a standard input jack. Preferably, if I have one, a stereo one. Actually, this is a really good one, but you might want to keep this, Jamie might want to keep this intact because you'll be able to sell all this shite, I imagine. And this should just come out. Come out, wherever you are. Of course it don't want to come out that easy. There you go. And there you go. And I'm not going to knock it, I'm not going to slag it off. It's a good invention. Everything works there. The earth wire to the bridge goes in there. You pull that back and it locks into place. Everything's in there nice and tight. Of course, these pots are non-reusable as they are. We don't even have lugs on them. They're specially made pots. Good pots, mind. All Gibson stamped. But this crap is no good to us. We're not going to be using it. We can get rid of that. Now I should be able to remove the pickups. I'm going to remove the neck one first. Hopefully these little plugs, so if you can see where you are, will pull through the holes, I'd imagine so. I'm going to whiz them out. All being well. Just let me remove this final screw on this. But hopefully that will just pull straight through the hole. Yep, that's one. That again, Jamie can sell that. It's a 57. Could be worth 25, 30 quid, maybe even 40 quid, who knows. This one can just go back in. All I'm going to do is, if you remember, I actually wired this to the plug, to the Gibson plug last year. That's why it's got this big extension on there. Hopefully this will pull out of the hole. If not, we're going to have to undo everything. Let's see if we can get it out of there. And there you go, that's fantastic. So I can remove that from there. And I will wire this conventionally. So that's the pickups out. So we are now ready to, I'm just going to remove this while I'm here. Don't know what's under here. May help with routing stuff later, I don't know. Or rerouting the wiring, blah blah blah. It's not exactly neat inside here, by the way. That's got all these bits off that we don't need right now. Watch this, will be nothing under it, just for show. Under there, absolutely sod all, could left arrow. Brilliant. So remove all this gear. Just make it easier for when I'm doing the wiring. Shame we couldn't get black ones of these. Probably won't get buy them from Gibson or Gibson Supply for about 30, 40 quid. Why would you? Colour them in. Everything goes in the pot, blah blah blah, so we don't lose out. Right, there you go. Wow, it's a shoddy. Ready to crack on with the new electrics. Now, the bits, what we've done with them, probably still in the case. Are they in the case? No, we're not here. These are the old bits that have come off. We're going to be reusing those. Pots I'm going to be using are two brand new CTS vintage pots and two reconditioned CTS vintage pots. The vintage pots, the brand new ones, are the the 450Gs, the ones I've been using for a while, so I moved on to Bournes. They're fantastic pots. I'm going to make sure they fit through the holes before we decide. That's one of the old reconditioned ones. I think you'll agree I made a very good job of that, cleaning these all up. Just make sure everything fits. It's going to be nice and tight in here. we have got plenty of room inside there for these. Absolutely fantastic. Wow, these guitars, you won't believe how flimsy and light these guitars are without the bits in. But we've got plenty of clearance here for the pots, more than we need. That's fantastic. So I shall crack on, build a loom shortly, and we'll get all this stuff get this stuff inside. I'm going to remove the tuners again. Locking tuners, they're going to be worth a few quid, so Jamie will get some of his money back if he sells these parts on. I'm sure he will do that. He's already going to give them me, is he? I wouldn't. So let's just crack this back on here. Everything in its place, just so we keep everything neat and tidy. I will go and get a wiring diagram for an SG, a 50s wiring diagram or a vintage wiring diagram. I'm going to wire this vintage, so when we roll off the volume we get no treble loss. What we call, or you could always bang on there if you wanted to, a treble bleed circuit. I'm not going to go with that. I'm wondering if I have a black nut and a black washer for this three-way, which we're going to use again. Let me just have a look. Do I not? That's something that resembles black. I think we may come unstuck here. We'll have to use what we've got there. Have we got a black washer? We've got an off black. Or maybe that's the silver one I've coloured in. Maybe I could colour it in. I don't know. Get some marker pen on there. No, that's silver, chrome. I don't have any blacks. Tough. We've got to go with what we've got. Let's keep it silver. Maybe when it's on there, we'll colour it in a little bit. It should take black marker pen. Let's have a quick look. Well, taking the black. Well, taking the black, whether it stays or not is another question. We can colour it in, can't we? So, anyway, enough fooling about. I'm going to get the tuners removed and I am going to crack on. Something I've just noticed, by the way, these pots coming out are vintage spec 450S 3078As, which are exactly the same as, well, the proper vintage ones I'm putting in. The brand new ones are 450Gs vintage, which are more expensive, but these are 450S 3847. What's these? 450S 3078. So they're the same pots. These pots going in, the two reconditioned ones I'm putting in are the same as these, and the other two brand new ones are CTS vintage. So they are virtually the same pots, except my vintage ones are slightly better, but the reconditioned ones are exactly the same as these what are coming out. So fantastic pots going in there, all up to spec. I've put this back together. Jamie can, sure he can sell this. Someone will buy it, somewhere. That's it, going to crack on. Sometimes it's a good reminder to go back in time and have a look at some work you did previously, because I don't know if you remember this, you probably won't, but this pickup, I put this pickup in this SG and I had to fit this plug to it. Now the wiring code for a Gibson and a Seymour Duncan are different, so I had to, I've just removed the outer shrink wrapping on this, and I've just thought, well, what a great neat little job I actually did on this when I did it. And there's the wiring I did, and I wired each one individually. And look, the red on a Seymour Duncan corresponds to green on a Gibson. The black on a Seymour Duncan corresponds to red on a Gibson. The green on a Seymour Duncan corresponds to black on a Gibson. The white is white and the bare is bare. And I wired all those together so I could use this plug to plug into the loom. And once that was all done, I obviously twisted this round and I covered that in heat shrink wrap. And now what I'm having to do is I'm actually undoing it. I'm undoing all this good work, but I've just had a look at this and I thought, well, what a good job I made at that last year. I just wanted to show that on camera. That video, by the way, is still there, how to wire a Seymour Duncan to a Gibson loom, if you want to go and check it out. But what I'm going to do with this is, I can afford to remove a bit more of this wire on the pickup itself, so I'm going to snip shy of this loom, because this loom can be used again, and I'm going to cut basically just a little bit a little bit more, less than I need to. I mean a little bit more than I need to. And that's fine, and that's done. And I've still got the 5 wires on the pickup, and I should be able to just remove this heat shrink wrap now. And all these wires should now be ready to be bared and used again. Not so quite, but look, these are just pulled off. I may have to struggle with this one just a little bit. I will get something in there, hopefully, on the bare wire. Get off my land. Something's happening on there. eBay sounds of that. Don't know what. We'll have a look in a minute, see what's what. And there you go. I have removed the shrink wrap tubing from those wires, and now I can bare those and get them all used again. That's the pickup sorted, and I will remove these ends from this plug, and this plug can go back to the loom, and it's probably going to be soldered on. I just wanted to share that with you. So I've just extended the wire on a neck pickup from an Epiphone. Don't know if it's worth anything, but we're replacing the 57, is it a burst booker or whatever it is, in well, whatever it was in there in the guitar, because that can be sold for, well, I'd imagine 40 quid at least. So we're just going to stick an old Epiphone, it's an Epiphone bridge pickup, but it's got in the neck position. Jamie doesn't use a neck position pickup, so it doesn't matter what goes in. So I'm going to stick that in there upside down, so we've got the screw poles furthest away, which is the place they were on the original pickup. Plenty of wire on there. I've extended it. I've also added some shrink wrap tubing around there to keep everything separate so we don't get any shorts. Gone with a white wire for hot, same as the original, and the black wire is representing the earth or the ground wire. So that can now go in the guitar. I can start getting the pickups in and get them in position. Not going to wire them in yet, but I'm going to start building the loom. In fact, you know what? I've just decided I'm not going to put the pickups inside the guitar just yet. I'm going to wire up the whole loom outside of the guitar to make sure it works before we put it in. Don't know why I didn't think of that earlier, because that's what I normally do anyway. So something I like to do when replicating a wiring system, I need to make sure that the pots are basically lined up exactly how those are. This is set as it is. So what I'll do is I'll take an indentation in paper, and what I'll do is I'll build up my own loom. Now normally I would use a piece of plywood, but I don't have any cut at the moment, so I've used a couple of pieces of corrugated, double-sided sticky tape, and put some tape over the top to give it some rigidity, like so. And this is what I'm going to go with, and we are going to have, you've got neck volume, neck tone, bridge volume, bridge tone. These are the vintage 450G CTS pots, the best you can get, and these are the same 450S vintage pots that Gibson use anyway, exactly the same as the pots in there. So we have replicated this loom, and now what I'm going to do is I've given myself a little bit of a wider berth on this by a couple of millimeters, just so when I put my ground wire around the side, I'll put it round tight, but I'll get some flexibility with it, so I can just move stuff about that little extra millimeter if I want to. So this is going to work absolutely fine. All I need to do now is go and find a wiring diagram. I know that's ground, that's ground. That's not used, that's not used, so that's pretty easy. I'll be using, I want to find the other one, where are we? I'll be using Mullard Mustard capacitors. I moved on to these a couple of years ago when I bought my Les Paul Studio. I used to use orange drops, and I discovered these Mullard Mustards, and I stuck Mullard Mustards in there, and the change was amazing. These are fantastic. 0.022 whatever measurement they are, or it's 22,000 PF, whatever that means, picofarads. I don't know the values, I just know these are the right ones for humbuckers. So I stick a couple of them in. I will put some ground wires or some wires so we're short on all of these when I insert them. I'll be going with a vintage style or a 50s style wiring, so we'll be running the capacitor over between the bridge and the tone on both. It's going to be a bit compact and bijou in there, but we are going to get it all nice and neat. So I'm going to basically crack on with that. I'm not going to show all of that work because it's too much setting the camera up and moving it around again, stuff out of the way. So I'm going to crack on with getting this wiring sorted out. I'm going to go get myself a wiring diagram right now. Give you a show of those pots there if you want to zoom in and have a look. These are 450 CTS 450G vintage, and these are CTS vintage 450S pots. I would say they're brand new. You'd be looking at, in England, to buy these in England, 18, you'd be looking at about 35 quid for all of that. 34, 35 quid, maybe a bit of delivery on top, not cheap. I'm not charging that, but you know, that's between me and Jamie, isn't it? So, going to crack on, we'll find the right diagram as mentioned. What have I done with that? There it is. We're back soon. So, I've done as much as I really need to do on the loom. All I've done is I've put the ground wire around the outside, and I've soldered on the, only soldered one side, soldered the capacitors on one side. Left it loose here, just poked through, because I need to wire, to put the three-way needs to go also on this same connection, this side of the capacitor. So I'm going to wire that all together. Just get that up there. So we're pretty neat. We're looking pretty good there. The capacitors they have a ground wire, not ground wire, but they have some shrink wrap tubing on there to stop them touching anything else and causing a short anywhere. So I'm going to transfer this over to the guitar now. Once that's in the guitar, then I can crack on with getting the three-way and the pickup selector switches in there, and we can wire the pickups in. Should be pretty straightforward, using a regular vintage wiring diagram. Shows you how to do the vintage wiring. I'll just put the colour code up there for a Seymour Duncan, where red and white are taped together for the coils, green and ground go together, and the black is hot. Always a good idea to have a diagram in front of you while you're working. So I'm going to crack on, get it in the guitar, and we'll start getting the other bits in. Back soon. And this is how we're going to look inside the guitar. Everything's nice and neat, nothing's touching anything else, nothing's in the way of anything else. Then we're going to look pretty neat in there, nice and symmetrical. Need to get in the three-way, I need to wire on the earth wire from the bridge. Get the three-way in there, get the selector in there, and then we can wire in the parts. It's all going to go really, really neat. Quite pleased with how that's gone. Nothing's in the way of anything. We've got plenty of room in there, and everything is solid. Looking really good. Right, it looks a bit busier in this cavity now, but that is the electrics all in. And I'm going to try and get the guitar around to show you where we are. About as neat as I could do it. The pickup wires, you're not seeing them there, and I've managed to route them from here all the way around the back to the pots. In fact, it's gone this way. Oh, which way's it gone? From there, that's right. From there, all the way round and round. Like I say, it looks a bit busy in there, but that is really, really good. I've checked the electrics, everything works. Just bang that on there, that's perfect. Right, yeah, everything works. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you everything working. So I'm going to turn the guitar around. I'll get the back plate on there, and I will come back and show you everything working at a different angle. Right, and everything is on full. Just turn my phone off so it doesn't bing. Selector in the centre, so both pickups on. Very good. Volume off on both. Same. The volumes don't work independent when you're in the middle position. Tone. Tone also. We're going to the neck position. Neck is on. Everything's on full. Neck on. Volume. Tone. Bridge. Make sure the bridge is off. Neck on. Bridge off. Bridge on. Neck off. Volume. Everything working exactly as it should be. So, got to get some strings on, give it a test. Should I stain the neck? It's only going to fade back to brown anyway, so I don't see the point in staining my neck, because all I'm going to do is I'm then going to get stain all over the binding, and it's not going to look right. So I would like to stain it all dark ebony, get it all matching the guitar, but it's, like I say, it is going to fade back, so I'm just going to leave it as it is. And there we are, all done. Looks fantastic. Not the all black we were looking for, but it's still a little bit, you know, we've got the adjusters underneath the bridge there. But we do have the black tuners on there. These are Vanson lock-in tuners. They are £26.80 a set delivered, and these are every bit as good as the locking tuners that were on there. I had to re-drill new holes for them. I was going to fill these holes in, the old ones, but Jamie says no, just leave them as they are. You'll be fine, don't mind a couple of holes in there. So I have left them. They're all lined up really well. We've gone for a black tailpiece, a black bridge, roller bridge, might I add. I've taken out the 57 pickup. It's a really good pickup. We get 40 quid for that, easy. And he said he didn't want to pick up in there. I said, look, we'll have something in there, just stop it being old. So we had an old Epiphone pickup from one of his, I think it's from his Flying V, just a bridge pickup. So we'll stick that in there. So we stuck it in there. We've completely rewired everything. We've gone from using the quick connect non-solder loom that was in there, what Gibson started putting in guitars. Now we've just gone with traditional parts, CTS vintage parts. I've gone with Mullard Mustard capacitors, cloth wiring. We get a complete rewire, brand new parts, brand new capacitors, blah blah blah. We had to use the old Switchcraft 3-way, and I've put in a new black input jack there, jack socket. So that's it, all done. I've tuned it in, I've set the intonation. Guitar is really good. I still like the older ones, but this looks the part to me. If we can find some adjusters for the bridge in black, I'm sure we'll add them at a later date, but that's it, the guitar is all done. It would have looked absolutely fabulous if I had stained that fingerboard, but wasn't commissioned to do that, and I didn't really want to get stain all over the binding because it's about and over the nibs. It'd be a pain to get off there, so I've decided to leave it as it is. Guitar looks fantastic, doesn't it? All black now, just sets it off real nice. So that's it, another one done. I'm going to put it in its case. It's ready for Jamie to come and pick up. He's going to come and pick it up tonight. So that's it. So until the next project, boys and girls, be good to each other, and I will see you soon.